Hi everyone, LaCrista here from Guerrilla Feminism, and today I'm going to be doing my makeup and talking about rape culture. This was one that was requested by a lot of people, so I figured give the people what they want, right? So I'm going to first talk about what I have currently on my face, and then I'm going to do an eye look. So if you want to fast forward through this part, please feel free to do so. I will not be offended. I'll also leave all of the information about the products that I am using underneath. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I currently have on, I'm gonna show you, of course I have Smashbox Photo Finish Primer I have on, Tarte's Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation, Tarte's Shape Tape Concealer, which is really awesome, and I'll show you this in a second, Anastasia of Beverly Hills Brow Powder Duo, as well as Glossier's Boy Brow on top to keep my eyebrows in place, because you know they go away sometimes or something, I don't know. And then I have some NARS blush. It's a sample size. I'm not going to be purchasing anything else from NARS, considering they are no longer cruelty free since they have expanded into the Chinese market. And then I have on my lids Urban Decay's Eyeshadow Primer Potion. So that, I believe, is everything. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's talk about rape culture. Something that is very uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about, and so it doesn't get talked about, and it needs to be talked about. So one of the definition that I really like of rape culture is from the book Transforming a Rape Culture, which if you haven't read it, I highly recommend. And in it, they define it as a rape culture is a complex of beliefs that encourages male sexual aggression and supports violence against women. It is a society where violence is seen as sexy and sexuality as violent. In a rape culture, women perceive a continuum of threatened violence that ranges from sexual remarks to sexual touching to rape itself. A rape culture condones physical and emotional terrorism against women as the norm. In a rape culture, both men and women assume that sexual violence is a fact of life, inevitable as death or taxes. This violence, however, is neither biologically nor divinely ordained. Much of what we accept as inevitable is in fact the expression of values and attitudes that can change. So that's kind of a big definition of rape culture, one that I really like and think does a good job of sort of explaining what it is. I mean, we see rape culture in all different aspects of society. In the media we consume, just in remarks that our friends and family might make. It's everywhere. It's pervasive, and it's really harmful, especially to those of us who are survivors of rape. So I do want to say, before I go any further, trigger warning for this video, and I will put this below too, because I will be discussing rape and rape culture. So do what you need to do, take care of yourself, etc. I will be talking about some personal experiences, and then, more broader things as well. So I will get into rape culture more in a second. I'm going to start doing my makeup. And to start this sort of green, tealish blue look, eyeshadow look, I'm going to go in with the Naked Heat palette just to cover my lids in, which one? I think I'm going to do Chaser, which is sort of a light color. So I'm gonna do that and just like apply that to my lids. I don't think I've used this color before. if you haven't seen the video before this, I talk about how much I love this palette. It's really pigmented and amazing. It is expensive, so of course know that. But I love it. Okay, so I'm just gonna sort of, yeah, do that layer. That's very white. Very white. But again, just sort of as a base layer for my eyes. Then I'm gonna go in with Low Blow, which is sort of a more brown. And I'm just gonna do like the crease. So examples of rape culture would be the whole like boys will be boys kind of bullshit. Things like, I don't know if people still say this, but I remember being in high school and people would say, oh, that test totally raped me. Or like, you know, like after they took a test or some shit, it was like, I was like, who says that? Like, it was a thing though, I swear to God. Like, people said that shit, and I was like, this is not cool with me. So, I mean, and also just like shaming women for what we wear, that's part of rape culture. Not believing women or anybody when they report a rape or say that they've been raped, that's also rape culture. And it's really shitty when you're a survivor and you decide to open up about this shit and people choose to not believe you. Like, that's fucked up. I have been raped 4 times. I've received comments from people who have said to me things like, how could you let that happen to you? How did you let that happen to you 4 times? Shit like that, when it's like, okay, so you're telling me it was my fault that I was raped? That doesn't make any sense. It is never the survivor or victim's fault. It is 100% the rapist's fault. So the first time I was raped, I was 18. It was an acquaintance of my older brother, and this guy, we briefly dated, and he assaulted me at one point. I didn't report it, and I didn't report it because I instinctively knew, and I was 18 at the time, I believe, 17 or 18. I just knew that I wasn't going to be believed because it was someone I was dating. And, you know, there's a lot of this, like, idea that if it's, that stranger rape happens more frequently and that we're raped by strangers, when in actuality the percentages are higher that you're going to be assaulted or raped by someone you know, someone that's close to you. And yet those of us who have been raped or assaulted by people we know are typically not believed. Of course, those who have experienced stranger rape are also not believed, so I'm not saying that, you know, one is better or whatever, you're more likely to believe, but there's definitely, like, if you're in a relationship with somebody, people look at you differently about it. They think that, well, are you sure it was rape? Like, you know, those kind of bullshit questions. And so that's really triggering to a survivor, and it's really hard to open up about that. And so I didn't report it, because again, I knew I wasn't going to be believed, which is shitty, right? Like, and that's shitty that I felt that way as an 18-year-old. The second time I was raped, oh God, which time was that? I mean, you know, it's like, those of us who are survivors, our memories are really fragmented, and our brains do that to protect ourselves, actually, from not, so that we don't have to relive the trauma day in and day out. But all 4 of my rapes were committed by men I was dating. And so that is it's a really hard thing to deal with, and to for me to still kind of think about. So the second time I was raped, also by a man actually I was in love with and dated for about 7 months. And this was the other thing I forgot to say too. 3 out of 4 of my rapes that happened to me, there was either alcohol or drugs involved. And so that was another contributing factor to me not wanting to report any of them. Because, again, part of rape culture is this idea that you have to be a perfect victim, meaning that, you know, you're like not showing any skin, you're not drunk, you're not, you know, under the influence of anything, you fought back. Like, there are all these like rules, right, that survivors and victims are sort of told, and if you didn't keep up with those rules or regulations, you are looked down upon and not believed. However, let's be real here, even if you do abide by these rules, you still might not be believed. So it really, like, it's a double bind situation, you know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So before I go further into this, I'm gonna actually start with adding some color to my eyes. So I'm gonna go in with the Urban Decay eyeshadow in Loaded, which is a very pretty kind of green, since I'm going for this like green look. I don't know. Oh no, I don't have my little mirror. So I'm gonna pack this onto my brush. I need to get better brushes. Again, that's like not on my priority list. Actually, fuck. What I'm gonna do first is go in with this other color called Haight. And this is like a teal. I'm gonna go in with this first and cover my lid. I love these eyeshadows. They're so gorgeous. So I'm just gonna cover my whole lid, or the majority of it, maybe leave sort of the outer part uncovered. I hope y'all can see how pretty this eyeshadow is, because it's gorgeous. So I'll go ahead and do this to both eyes, and I might look a little hilarious, we'll see. So I'm just really sort of packing it on my lid. I love this color, oh my god. Okay, so I think that's good for now. And that's all we're gonna do with that right now. So as you can see, it's a very, like, it's a teal, bluish, vibrant color. I'm super into it. So as I was saying, rape culture, again, you have these rules and regulations to abide by if you do get raped, and that's really shitty. So let me go through again my experience. So the third time I was raped was by a guy I went out with once, and he is a TA at a university, and you know, like I knew again, like I had one drink. I knew that I went home with him. Like I knew I wasn't going to be believed. The fourth time was also a guy I went out with once. I went home with him. Actually, no, it was our second date. I went home with him, and I actually, you know, no alcohol, drugs were involved, and he assaulted me and didn't report that. And, you know, a lot of people who hear my story think, like, well, why, you know, ask me, why didn't you report? Which, to be clear, asking that question is part of rape culture. Never fucking ask somebody that question, please. But I didn't report because I knew I wasn't going to be believed. Most of the time, not just for that reason, but that reason, and also because I didn't want to have to, like, go to the police station, like, run through what happened to me, like, rehash everything out, potentially then deal with victim blaming from police officers or whomever else. I just knew, like, I wasn't going to be able to deal with that. And I don't regret it. I don't regret not reporting. I'm all for, like, you know, survivors doing what feels best for you. So if you're somebody who does want to report a rape or sexual assault that happened to you, I support you 100%. If you're not, I support you 100%. I really want to empower survivors to do what feels best for you, right? Like, don't listen to anybody else. Do what feels best for you. So that's really how I feel about that. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into sort of my upper eyelid crease area with Loaded, which is what I mistakenly said earlier. Sorry about that for everybody who's like totally keeping track. So this is like more of a kind of gray green, I guess you could say. It's more, I mean, it looked a little emerald to me in the packaging, but when I put it on, it definitely looks more, it looks more like I guess maybe a forest green, but there does seem to be some gray in there as well, which I'm cool with. I mean, I think it's also a gorgeous shade. So I'm just sort of now trying to blend these two together. And you all should tell me, feel free to tell me your experiences within rape culture, you know, in the comments. I'd be interested to hear what all you have to say. I know it's obviously like we all experience rape culture to some extent, and that's the really sad part of it, is that, you know, even if you are not a survivor or a victim, however you choose to identify, of rape or sexual assault, you've probably dealt with some aspect of rape culture in some way. So whether you've heard, you know, people say boys will be boys, or you know, whatever else, like you've probably dealt with it, and you're probably totally sick of that shit like I am. But it's so pervasive, and it's so hard to get people to stop saying things when they're so used to saying them, you know? Whoa, I need to like really clean up my inner eye area. Hello, I don't know how that happened. So I'm just gonna blend these together a bit. Okay, so I blended those two shades together. I'm now going to use Urban Decay's 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in Deep End for my waterline. And I'm gonna talk some more. So this is like a teal blue, more of a blue, I guess, than teal. There's not much green in it, but it's very bright. I like it. So other parts about rape culture that you should know. Only 3% of rapists ever serve a day in jail. That is a statistic. You can, it is a fact. You can look it up, Google that shit, whatever you need to do. But yeah, like, that is another part of rape culture, and that is why many people do not fucking report. Because if you know that this person might not ever get any time in jail or any sort of consequence, then why the fuck would you report it? You know? I mean, that's how I felt too. Like, what, you know, and then you're worried about pissing that person off, and then are they gonna come back and rape you again or come back after you? You know, I mean, like, that's the kind of shit that you have to think about. And that's terrifying. Also, you have to deal with, like, if you do report it and you know, try to go the legal route with this shit, then you have to worry about the rapist's, like, friends and family harassing you potentially or whatever else. And again, like, to be clear, I'm not trying to scare anybody out of reporting it or whatever. Like, do what you want to do. I just want people to know, like, the very real shit that can and has happened to people. And it's hideously unfair for sure, but this is what fucking happens. It's not okay, but it happens. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into with Haight, which is very similar color to the eyeliner I just put in my waterline. And I'm going to bring this eyeshadow look down and up. Rape jokes, another way that rape culture is pervasive and just completely, you know, instilled in our culture, right? You hear rape jokes, like, and people laugh at them because that's what you do, right? Well, but you shouldn't, you know? And so, like, how do we work to dismantle rape culture? One way, we don't laugh at people's fucked up jokes about it, right? Like, that's a seemingly small thing you can do that can help. You can also, like, have conversations with friends and family if you feel comfortable. Maybe even if you don't feel comfortable. But having, you know, like, having conversations about this shit and, like, making sure they know, like, why it's problematic what they're doing, and how, yeah, like, they should not there's some shit you should not joke about, and rape is one of them. I mean, I've seen very few comedians be able to do it in a way that is actually, like, subversive and, you know, like, in a well done way that's not victim blaming or more triggering. So if, you know, just, like, overall, people just should not, though. Like, it's just not a good look, okay? Alright, so I've taken the eyeshadows down and around my eyes, and I am now going to go in on top with doing some winged eyeliner with Stila Stay All Day Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner in Intense Black. This is my fucking favorite black eyeliner. It's so good. So I'm gonna do that off camera because I don't want to fuck this up. Alright, we're back and the eyeliner is done. I think I did a pretty good job. We'll see. I don't know. I also used my smudge brush a little bit to just kind of move these shadows together. I am then going to do this torture device. No, it's not so bad. But yeah, so back to rape culture and dismantling rape culture, which fucking needs to happen, like, yesterday. So few other, I wanted to say a couple more, oh my god, this scares me. I wanted to say a couple more statistics. 1 in 5 women, this is from the CDC, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men have reported experiencing rape. Now, keep in mind, that is just reported. That is not everybody who's been raped. So, like I just told you, I've been raped 4 times, so I am not in that statistic. And there are many more of us who have not reported. So the numbers are even higher than that. Granted, that statistic, I do want to point out, does not take into account gender nonconforming folks or non-binary folks. So just FYI, that's a problem, that it does not do that. It's not taken into account. But yeah. So I'm gonna go with this Benefit Roller Lash. I'm using it up until it's gone, because then I'm not gonna be buying this shit no more, because I had no idea Benefit was not cruelty free. I guess I just like assumed that people were, and that's my problem, of course. But like I said in the last video, whatever, like, I've never been that big of a fan of Benefit, to be honest, so I'm not like completely distraught that I'm not gonna use their products ever again. But let me know what your favorite mascara is, because I am going to need a new one soon. So I actually might do a drugstore mascara next, because I've had some decent luck with, I think, L'Oreal, and maybe it was Maybelline as well. So, and they're cheaper, and nothing is better than that when makeup is cheap and, you know, it does the same shit that like higher priced makeup does, right? So yeah, let me know in the comments what your favorite mascara. So to finish off this look, I'm going to be using Raspberry Tiramisu Lip Whip by Beauty Bakerie, which is a really amazing company, Black owned. I'm pretty into their products. I only have 3 of them, but I like them a lot so far. So what can we do to end rape culture? The first thing that needs to happen is acknowledgement that it exists, right? You can't fix something if there is no acknowledgement of it. And there's still, unfortunately, a lot of people who do not believe rape culture exists. So we really have to like get all those people on board, get each other on board. It's hard to talk and do my lipstick at the same time. I probably shouldn't. This color goes on a little smeary, unfortunately. The other ones I have from them don't. So I don't know why this one does that. God damn it. Like, I feel like I have to put a ton of coats on because of it, which sucks. So I'm gonna read through some things that we all can do to effectively end rape culture. And this is from The Nation. They put out an article a while ago called Top 10 Things, well, not top 10, but like 10 things you can do to end rape culture. Yeah, see, I don't know. This fucking color is gorgeous, but like, it like smears around. Let me know if you've ever bought anything from Beauty Bakerie and if you've had this issue. Because I haven't had this issue with their other lipsticks, so that's weird. So name the real problem, which I already talked about. Re-examine and reimagine masculinity. Super important because violent masculinity is not okay, and it's not something that we should want people, men and boys, whomever, to identify with. Toxic masculinity is violent masculinity, and it's not good for anybody. It's not good for men, it's not good for boys, it's not good for women, it's not good for anybody. So that's something we need to do, is to really talk about that and really teach boys how, you know, that it's not okay. Do I have lipstick on my teeth? No. Okay. Get enthusiastic about enthusiastic consent. So if you don't know what enthusiastic consent is, it's basically when you are in a relationship with someone, in any kind of relationship, it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be platonic, whatever. You should always ask for consent to touch somebody, you know, even something like a hug, which many people think is not a big deal. Like, you should always ask before you go in to hug somebody. You should never, like, teach your kids that they have to hug people if they don't want to, you know. That's adding to rape culture, and it's really it's scary for people, you know, and you don't know, you know, why someone might not want to hug. So things like that. You really want to make sure that you get a enthusiastic yes from somebody before touching them, or, you know, doing anything that would involve them. So make sure to do that. And there's a lot of great stuff on the internet about enthusiastic consent, so if you want to look it up. I'm going to finish this look with Luna Moon Topper by Black Moon Cosmetics, which is really a pretty thing. I'm just going to, like, kind of make it rain. I'm gonna make it rain on my eyes. I could put some on my lips too, but I think I kind of want to keep them matte. So I look like a little, like I'm crying glitter. It's great. I love it. I'm into it. Oh, I should put a little bit on the corners of my eyes, or whatever the fuck they're called. What do people, I don't care. I'm not a makeup artist, so don't come for me. Then to finish this off, I'm going to put on my Urban Decay De-Slick. Whew, hello. Let's get back to it. Get media literate. So the nation says media, like everything we consume, is a product, of course. Ask the right questions about things that you see in the media. You know, there's journalists, really shitty journalists, are notorious for when they write about survivors and victims, they do it in a way that's really fucked up and demeaning and adds to rape culture. So, like, look at that stuff and, like, think about it and critique it. Also, specifically as it, you know, refers to women of color, who are, you know, more at risk for this kind of bullshit, like more at risk for, you know, journalists saying fucked up shit, more at risk for sexual assault and violence. You know, Native American women are, I believe, the highest at risk for sexual violence. And that's something we just don't even talk about, right? Like, it's like, whatever, you know, I mean, and so in the media, it's really portrayed, you know, of course, hashtag not all journalists, but there are a lot of shitty journalists out there who portray survivors and victims of rape as, you know, they're adding to rape culture by calling us liars, saying, you know, just various things that you can tell are like, okay, that's a little questionable what this person's writing. So that's something, is to like really, you know, analyze the media that you're consuming. Globalize your awareness of rape culture. So that means, of course, different cultures. Like, rape culture is not just a US thing. It's not just a white woman thing. It's everywhere in the world. And it's a little bit different, though, in all different spaces, and it's a little bit different the way that it affects all different people as well. So that's something also to be cognizant of. Let's see, they say know your history. So for those of us who live here in the US, we must acknowledge and learn from the US's long history of state-sanctioned violence, of course, meaning the genocide of Native and First Nations people, of course, slavery, and every other way that the US is violent towards people, and specifically towards marginalized people. Take an intersectional approach. So again, like making sure when you're, you know, talking about rape culture and reading about it, thinking about it, writing about it, whatever, that you're not just talking about white cishet women, able-bodied women, that you're talking about like disabled women, women of color, LGBTQIA people, you know, everybody, right? Like, this is, rape culture affects all of us, to some extent. And yeah, don't laugh at rape jokes. Don't, you know, like, that's adding to this bullshit. So don't do shit like that either. I think that's basically all I want to say for this episode of Makeup and Feminism. This episode of Lackluster. This is my look. A tearful unicorn witch lady. So if you also want to be a tearful unicorn witch lady, feel free to do this look and send me photos or something. Tag me. Follow the Guerrilla Feminism Instagram account. It's just at Guerrilla Feminism. It's below this if you want to check it out. Follow Lackluster Beauty on Instagram. And follow me on Facebook too, I hope. Okay? Sending you so much love. See how great this lipstick is, though? Shit doesn't come off. Anyways, sending you so much love, and let me know what you'd like me to talk about in the next one. Also, let me know, like, what kind of makeup look you'd want me to do if you have anything in mind. I'm open to suggestions. All right. I hope to get a better situation here in terms of my camera stuff, because I'm using my phone and it's just not the best, of course, but whatever. You do what you have to. Anyways, I really appreciate everybody watching. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. And if you'd like to contribute anything to my Patreon, I'll leave the link below too for that. It's just patreon.com/LaCristaGreco. But I will leave the link to that below too if you have $1 and want to pledge a month. There are some cool rewards. So anyways, thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.